Stephen requested me on Patreon to review Disney's The Reluctant Dragon, but not the more well-known animated short. Instead, I'm actually talking about the film that short was originally a segment of, which was a look at how animated movies were made at the Walt Disney Studios. Originally released in 1941, it's definitely a very glossy depiction of the studio operations, but I still found myself very charmed by it. There is a narrative in The Reluctant Dragon as we watch Robert Benchley take a tour of the studio as he awaits a meeting with Walt Disney. The film does take us step by step through the process, albeit slightly out of order as he goes to the Folly Studio, the story room, the animator's offices, and other places. Nowadays, we're accustomed to seeing these kinds of behind-the-scenes looks on DVD bonus features, but in 1941, this would have been a rare glimpse into the Disney Studios, and it does a really good job of explaining things like how the multiplane camera worked, how each cell was created, and the purpose of storyboards. All the while, Benchley becomes a likable host and completely game for what he's required to do. Also, fun fact, Robert Benchley was the grandfather of Peter Benchley, the author of Jaws. As I said, a lot of The Reluctant Dragon is played up for show. For example, many of the people Benchley interacts with were actors rather than actual studio employees. That's not even his real wife you see in the movie. The film was also released not long after the start of the Disney animator strike, so you can imagine they were none too pleased with the sugar-coated depiction of the operations. A few of the real artists do pop up in The Reluctant Dragon though, like Ward Kimball and Norman Ferguson. And there's also a fun scene with Clarence Nash and Florence Gill, the voices of Donald Duck and Clara Cluck respectively. At the time of its release, the movie also offered audiences their first peeks at Dumbo and Bambi. You even see maquettes featuring characters like Captain Hook from Peter Pan a full decade before their films reached screens, which shows how long they were delayed by World War II. The Reluctant Dragon employs a Wizard of Oz type device too, when it switches from black and white to Technicolor at a pivotal moment and stays that way through the film. The most surprising thing about this film is that Walt Disney is barely in it. Before watching it, I thought the movie would be akin to his television series, with him serving as the host and showing Benchley around the studio. Instead, you wait a long time for him to appear, and when Walt does show up, he's only in it for about 2 minutes and does not do a whole lot. Oh well. Throughout the film, we also get a number of animated segments, so this could technically count as one of the package films, like The Three Caballeros or Fun and Fancy Free. There's the Goofy cartoon, How to Ride a Horse, which presents us with the expected funny, goofy hijinks. There's some great slapstick and plenty of laughs, as we see Goofy attempt to, well, ride a horse. Meanwhile, the Baby Weems segment is shown as a series of storyboards and tells of a baby who is immediately born with the ability to speak, and it's an amusing little segment. I do find it funny that animation fanboys act all high and mighty about how the Boss Baby is an insult to the art form of animation, and yet here is the Walt Disney Studios during its golden age making something with a very similar idea. And finally, the movie concludes with the titular Reluctant Dragon short. I had seen the short before by itself, but it was good to see it in the context of where it originated from. This is a very inventive and wonderfully animated story with plenty of energetic character animation, especially on the dragon. The dragon is just a delightful personality, and the story presents a good message about not forcing certain roles on someone just based on prior expectations of what they should be. You can definitely argue The Reluctant Dragon is a critique on toxic masculinity. Overall, while the movie definitely offers a sanitized and manufactured depiction of the Disney Studios, it's still worth watching as a neat time capsule and a good first step in learning about the animation process. Thank you for requesting this movie for me, Stephen.